Hello, the internet. So, the Bat Van is officially sold. It is gone. This is going to be the last episode of Adventures in Wonderland, but not the channel. So down on my playlist, I've got the Van Tour series, I've got the Grand Adventure at Large, and this series, Adventures in Wonderland. This is the last episode. So the next one, I'm still kind of playing around with it. I haven't fully come up with the branding for it yet, but I'm thinking about just calling it The Missionary, which is kind of a fun little wink and nod to the Mormon culture I grew up in, because everybody knows about Mormon missionaries. But the channel, as I kind of described briefly in the last video, is just kind of my own journey to... I want to show that all the fear-mongering and crap on the news is just BS. It's like whenever I told people I was going to be going to Patagonia and I'd be going through Mexico and all that, they were all just like, don't go down there, it's dangerous, it's scary, you're going to get your head cut off and your body's going to be found on the side of the road. And you know, it seems like the media in the US, like, they try to like make you feel like the rest of the world is like just third world poverty run under dictators, and this is the only sane and free place in the world, which is just not true. There's so many other countries, you know, like you ever say like, screw America or something, you know, that implies that you're not especially patriotic. And people are like, well, why don't you go live in Afghanistan? It's like, well, why would I go there of all the places in the world that I could go? There's so many other awesome places that you can go and live. You know, why are you going to go to the Middle East where everybody knows that tensions are high? Because that's kind of what everybody in America seems to think of the rest of the world. The rest of the world is basically Syria and Afghanistan and Iran and Iraq. And it's just not true. And I want to show with this video series, The Missionary, that the world is a friendly place. That no matter where you go, people are people. And they're good. And that, you know, they're not that different from you or I. And so that's kind of a big part of it. The other part is, you know, there's a lot of people now that you see these videos all over the web now for like quit my job and live in a van full time, and people going to minimalist living, and people living in tiny houses and stuff like that. It's kind of a huge trend right now, and I want to kind of go a step further on that and show the other end of it. That, like, you know, a lot of people ask me how I make money. And the answer to that is, I don't make that much money. But what I've done is I've reduced my life to such simple means that, you know, like I don't need a lot. My phone is a Google Voice phone number. So I don't have phone when I don't have Wi-Fi, but that's fine. I don't really like talking on the phone anyways, so it's kind of just a thing of convenience for me anyways. And I always check my Wi-Fi several times a day anyways, so I'll eventually get your message within that day. So I save money with that. With this next vehicle, I'm doing the veggie oil conversion, and that's going to save me on gas. So essentially, I'm going to get my expenses down to just food and insurance. And with that being my only two expenses, I'll only have to work, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 days out of the month, and then I have the rest of the month free to do whatever I want. Now that's if I'm staying in an area. If I'm, you know, needing a little bit of money to travel around on, of course it's going to be different now with the veggie oil conversion. I can travel around a lot more freely because I'm not going to have to worry about money in that respect so much anymore. But basically, I want to show that you can live almost free. It just depends on the kind of lifestyle that you're interested in having. Me personally, I will be a happy man if I die like 90 years old in some mud hut somewhere in the third world doing volunteer work. I'll be happy with that. You know, I'm not looking for any type of vanity in my life or material anything, you know. So I'm looking for experiences, and I love doing volunteer work. That's something that I discovered a few years ago whenever I'd been managing a club in Salt Lake City, and after doing that for about 2 years, I was just kind of, you know, I was making all kinds of money and had status and success and all the things that you think of whenever you're running a club in a downtown city. But I had no free time. I was pretty much dedicated to that place all the time, and so I tried to throw my money around as a way to compensate for the fact that I wasn't having a lot of fun. And at the end of the time that I was done working there, I just had it, and so I basically just everything that I owned at that point, which I'd already kind of whittled down because I was living pretty minimalist at that point, just because I didn't have time to do anything. But I got rid of everything. I just left it where it was at. I just didn't bother selling it or giving it to anybody. I was just like, whatever, I don't care anymore. I packed up whatever I could in a couple of bags, and I went and I spent what I thought would be just a summer with my parents. I ended up spending a year, and they just moved out to southern Utah like a few years ago, and I hadn't even been to their new place yet. So this was like my first time even making it out there to go see them in a few years. I was there for a little while, and then I ended up going out to California for a job. I actually worked for Snoop Dogg for a little while, and there's a kind of long story to that. Kind of weird. I had a friend that went to sound engineering school, and they do job placement at the end of the training, and he ended up getting an internship with Snoop Dogg. And after he'd been there for 3 years and was about to get hired on, he invited me to come out and meet his new wife, and he had a kid. And I got out there, and he says, so you want to check out Snoop Dogg's studio? I'm like, are you kidding me? Of course I want to go see Snoop Dogg's studio. And so we go out there, and I ended up just literally living in the studio for several months, and we completely rebuilt the place, got new sponsors, new equipment, just rebuilt the whole place. I got some videos I'll probably put back up. I had up from a long time ago. But while I was out there in California, I kind of just ended up drifting around because I met some people from that job that ended up getting other work for, and I kind of just worked all over like the whole Los Angeles area for about 2 years. And in that time, when I was living as a total minimalist, I just kind of developed a love for living simple and not having a lot of things, and having the freedom to just roam whenever I want to, and just, you know, if one job didn't work out, I can just literally that same day just, oh, well, whatever, I'm gonna go to another city. But the point is, you can live on so little. You don't need much, and I want to show, and I want to go to the extreme level on it. I mean, I want to. There's this guy named Daniel Suelo who I actually had the privilege to eventually become friends with, and I still never interviewed him. And we've had a few online spats where I agree with a lot of what he says, but not everything. But his book, well, it's a book that featured him called The Man Who Quit Money. It was written by another guy whose name completely escapes me right now, who I also met. I met the author on several occasions. The Man Who Quit Money is the name of the book, and it's basically about this guy, Daniel Suelo, who's been living in a cave for about 14 years, just completely moneyless. So he doesn't do anything to make money. Now, it's not to say like he doesn't have rules where he just doesn't deal with money at all. Like, I think, you know, there's occasions where people had given him money and he accepted it and used it. He'll buy snacks and stuff like that every now and then. But for the most part, he lives moneyless. And I want to do that with my next series. So the nice thing about starting over with this new series is I'm starting from scratch. So I get to start off with kind of my mission statement, buying the new van, building it out, and you know, the first journey, everything. I get to start new. So that's it for me now. More updates coming really soon. Stay tuned. Please do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you liked the video, like it. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. If you give it a thumbs down though, tell me what you didn't like about that. I really appreciate that. And if you give it a thumbs up, tell me what you like too. If you have suggestions for future videos, things you'd like to hear me talk about, down in the comments. So that's it for now. Peace.